Get connected on our social media at iPower One Nation for radio and TV news and updates. Stay connected with iPower One.
From the Hard Planet Media Studios in New York, this is iPower 2 This Moment.
Breaking developments in an hours-long Philadelphia standoff overnight. The man accused of shooting 6 police officers there finally did surrender to police. New York's Tracy Strand's here with all the new developments. And Tracy, we can't stress, this really just ended just a few hours ago.
A lot of people knew about it when they went to bed, knew information when you woke up, Michael, and that suspect's been identified as Maurice Hill. He's accused of opening fire on half a dozen officers and placing that entire neighborhood in Philadelphia full of residents on lockdown all the way until early this morning. Now, a short time ago, his lawyer gave more insight as to why this violent ordeal lasted so long. First, let's show you video of that suspect emerging hours ago with his hands up from a building that SWAT team members actually fired gas into shortly before midnight. And you then see the moments when he's swarmed by dozens of police officers, cuffed, and taken into custody. We've learned that Hill has an extensive criminal history in Pennsylvania, and late last night, his lawyer said he expects him to be charged, including 6 counts of attempted murder for that standoff that all started with gunfire.
121, please, send additional cars immediately. Send additional cars.
That's the frightening transmission from police radio around 4:30 Wednesday afternoon. Shots were fired after narcotics officers tried to serve that suspect with a warrant. The gunfire forced several officers to escape through windows in the building, and while 6 police officers were shot, 2 others were trapped, along with 3 civilians inside of the suspect's home that was filled with weapons, including an AK-47. Now, after a SWAT team was finally able to get them out, Hill's lawyer says authorities allowed him to communicate with his client, all in hopes of convincing him to come out.
He said that if he came out, he wouldn't come out unless I was standing outside, because he knows I'm going to allow anything to happen to him. He was panicking, obviously, and I could sense that. I could sense he was panicking and trying to figure out, how do I get out of this situation alive? When I say get out, I'm inside of a home. The police are waiting for me. I've got national attention. Social media is going crazy. It was a perfect storm for a bunch of different outcomes.
Even more frightening in that neighborhood, children from a daycare center right next door to the standoff scene had to be escorted away from it, some of them as young as 6 months old. And no injuries were reported amongst them. Part of nearby Temple University also had to be temporarily placed on lockdown. Now, another update for you this morning. We've learned that all 6 of the police officers injured by gunfire have been released from the hospital. And with so many shots fired, Michael, the city's mayor is quoted as saying it's nothing short of a miracle that they weren't killed.
The NYPD mourning the loss of another one of their own. Another police officer has taken his own life tonight, just one day after a fellow officer died by suicide. News 4's Jackie Becker joining us live in Laurelton, Queens with the sad details. Jackie?
And Stephen, the street where that officer lived, where he was found today, still blocked off tonight as a full investigation continues. But we can tell you that the deaths, the number of suicides, puts this year on track to be the worst for suicides in the NYPD in over a decade. Tweeting, they were saddened to announce another tragedy, the NYPD confirming tonight that yet another member had taken his life. Law enforcement sources telling News 4 the 56-year-old officer was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, discovered by his wife in their Laurelton, Queens home.
To hear this news I'm I don't know.
So far this year, 9 NYPD officers have died by their own hand, with this being the 7th suicide in just 10 weeks and the 2nd in as many days. Tuesday, police say 7-year veteran Johnny Rios took his own life at his Yonkers home. Chief of Department Terrence Monahan addressed the crisis in the nation's largest police force on a radio show.
When we look at this, is there a contagion? This is something that psychologists and psychiatrists talk about when one happens, that there may be more. We wanted to make sure we're putting this out open to let our cops know it's all right to come and ask for help.
But officers cite being afraid to ask for help and living with the stigma of mental illness as deterrence. Commissioner James O'Neill has been on a mission to change that.
To go for help is not a weakness, it's a strength. And there are so many different ways to get help.
I spoke to that dude like 2 days ago, like 3 days ago.
Wow.
Derek Clark, stunned by the news. He knew the officer from a local health club, their young kids attending the same school.
I think he was at the parent-teachers night. So it's like, I know we were talking about the kids, man. Dad, take your kids to school day.
And we're hearing that officer had over 20 years experience. Now, we are not releasing his name while the department continues to notify family members of his death. In Laurelton, Queens, Jackie Beckford, News 4 New York.
Violent crash along a street in Queens has residents calling on the city to do something. That's because they say it's not the first time, and they're afraid if something isn't done, someone's going to die. News 4's Ken Bufa is live in Middle Village with the safety concerns being raised there, Ken.
And this is why it's being raised. Take a look. You can see a window here from this car crash on the ground, because this is where the car crashed right into this pole, and then a bystander came and tried to preserve the lives inside.
I was just talking to her, just saying, hang in there, wait for the fire department to get you out of here.
Barney Maroney rushed over and just started helping after a car crashed into a utility pole with 3 teenagers inside here on Cook Avenue and 73rd Place in Middle Village.
I heard a big boom, and I didn't even hear the tire screech or anything, and I assumed it was thunder.
Police say the 17-year-old and 2 16-year-old girls had just left work at Christ the King Kids Daycare less than a mile away. And according to a witness, 2 of the girls made it out of the car on their own, but the last one was pinned inside.
And I grabbed her head and I held it in place so that she, just in case she had a fracture or something, I didn't know. I just held her head straight so it wouldn't move.
This surveillance video shows the desperate attempts from firefighters to free the trapped teen, a mission witnesses say went on for more than a half hour.
Maybe we get a stop sign, lights, but something has to be done.
Neighbors tell us they've been trying to get a speed bump or stop signs installed on the road they say has been plagued by accidents.
We need a study on this because it has poles right near the corner. It's a narrow street. There's no set curb on one particular side. There's no sidewalks.
All 3 teens survived the wreck, but the girl pinned inside the car is in serious condition.
But just to see that young 17-year-old kid, it really hurt.
Now, as doctors work, Maroney is praying his help pays off.
I just hope, she makes it to the first day of school, and that'd be good, and that's it.
Now, the DOT is checking their records to see if they have research on whether speed bumps will work here. And as they do that, everyone in this neighborhood are praying these girls pull through. We're in Middle Village. Ken Bufa, News 4 New York.
For the second night in a row, News 4 is back at a nail salon in Queens, the site of a gruesome murder. News 4's Michael George is once again live in Jackson Heights.
But this time, Michael, is no longer a crime scene. This is the scene of a emotional vigil tonight.
Well, Stacey, Stephan, tonight you can see people continuing to gather here at this nail salon. They're offering prayers, lighting candles after a horrible murder police believe was a case of domestic violence. 35-year-old Iris Santiago was working at the salon last night. Police say her husband, William Rivas, walked in and stabbed her in the back repeatedly before trying to end his own life. Tonight, friends and co-workers gathered at the salon to pray for Iris. She's being described as a wonderful person, devoted mother. The aftermath of the murder was captured on video by horrified witnesses. The suspect actually cradled his wife's body after the murder until police arrived. He tried to end his own life, but he survived and is now in the hospital awaiting charges. Iris' co-workers say they tried to get Rivas to leave. He wouldn't, and they say they even physically tried to fight him off.
Yo traté de protegerla, pero
I tried to protect her. I tried to do everything humanly possible, but I couldn't stop him from killing her. William Rivas is expected to be arraigned tomorrow. We're live in Jackson Heights. Michael George, News 4 New York.
You're watching iPower 2 this moment. Moving forward in the NYC.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Love is kind. Love is patient.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. Easy targets. Quick to kill time. But give idle hands something to do, a place to go, a purpose. And they're capable of amazing things.
There's always something interesting while on the roads.
See the best in the tri-state area.
The iPower 2, mobile on the road, moving forward.
Look at your face and your hands.
Oh, it's still getting worse.
Is it your allergy? There were peanuts in the brownies, right? Peanut butter. Oh no, I forgot. What? She asked you. Call 911, so sorry.
Okay.
Every 6 minutes, life-threatening food allergies send someone to the hospital. Always avoid your allergens and talk to your doctor about a prescription treatment you should carry for severe reactions. Learn more at faceyourrisk.com.
No matter where, at home, work, or on the go, whether in New York, tri-state area, or iPower One Nation, iPower 2 is streaming online.
A drunk
driver is now facing several charges for a deadly car crash on Sunday. Police say 29-year-old Francisco Rosario was under the influence driving southbound on Jerome Avenue when he swerved onto the sidewalk at the corner of Bainbridge Avenue. He hit a 33-year-old woman and a 49-year-old man who were waiting for the bus that night. We're told that woman, now identified as Natasha Marr from Brooklyn, did not make it. The man appears to still be hospitalized.
There's been a few close encounter head-on collision when the bus stops here. The bus stops here, it blocks the lane. So the people are behind there, they're impatient, they don't want to wait. So they go around and they end up close to a collision right here, head-on collision.
Rosario has been hit with a list of charges including assault, reckless endangerment, and driving while intoxicated.
Police releasing surveillance video of two suspects, one in connection to a string of armed robberies. News 12 The Bronx reporter Joanna Hernandez has more for us from Mount Hope. Joanna?
Yeah, Aisha, we're told our most recent victim was a 65-year-old man who tried to fight back before they ran off with his jewelry. Now, surveillance video shows the men going into what police believe is their getaway car. Now, authorities say the most recent robbery happened on July 8th around 4 in the morning. The 65-year-old victim was walking down Tremont Avenue when he was ambushed by these guys. According to the victim, he tells police one of them yanks his necklace and knocks him to the ground. That's when he tried to defend himself when the other man pulled out a gun as he attempted to steal his bracelet. When he couldn't take it off, the gunman tried to shoot the victim and missed before they ran off. The victim suffered minor cuts and bruising. 20 minutes before that incident, police say the pair went after a 31-year-old man in Manhattan. This time, cops say the victim was walking into a building when he was threatened with a gun. We're told the duo got away with $3,000 in cash, jewelry, and a cell phone. 2 days before these last two robberies, we're told the duo went after two guys sitting along Morris Avenue. Surveillance video showing the pair getting into a white Honda SUV the night of their first attack back on July 6th around 7 in the evening. The same situation happens here. One of the thieves pulls out a gun and robs a man. They got away there with $200 and a cell phone. Residents in the area say at this point they go straight home to avoid incidents like this.
I grew up in the Bronx, so you got to be prepared. If you're not prepared, something's wrong. It's part of life. I mean, you walk around and that's what happens, especially at night. What are you doing out here at night? That's why I go home now. I stay home.
Authorities are now offering up to a $2,500 reward for any information or any tips that could lead them to these two suspects. And of course, remember, your call will always remain anonymous. In Mount Hope, Joanna Hernandez, News 12, The Bronx.
Police trying to track down a group of men linked to the attempted robberies of 3 Jewish men in 3 separate incidents in Williamsburg. News 12's Katie Lusso has more for us now.
Underway for not only justice but for a motive in all of this. The New York State Police Hate Crimes Task Force has been ordered to work alongside the NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force in getting to the bottom of all of this. We'll take a look. This is surveillance video that was released by the NYPD of a group of young men who they are searching for and want to speak with about all of this. 3 Jewish men attacked in less than an hour within a 4-block radius of each other. Surveillance video shows one of the attacks. If you watch the top right corner of the screen, you can see a man being punched in the face. Police telling us the victims were a 71-year-old, a 67-year-old, and a 56-year-old. All, again, of this happening in a 4-block radius. Cops say they were approached by a group of young men in each scenario, punched in the face and told to hand over their money. The 71-year-old had to be hospitalized.
Just unfortunate that we're not really facing why? What's going on? The people who commit these acts, why are they doing it? We're not discussing that. We're not having that discussion.
Governor Andrew Cuomo in a statement saying, quote, anti-Semitism is a growing cancer that has been injected into the nation's body. But in New York, we will continue to stand united with one voice and condemn any and all acts of hatred and intolerance. Now, Mayor de Blasio says that there will be extra police presence in the area, and investigators are asking that if you have any information about what happened, that you call police. In Williamsburg, I'm Katie Lasso, News 12.
Residents say this used to be a popular basketball court.
For a New York City court, it was really good. It had single rims, glass backboards, like
clear lines.
But now, fewer people come to play. It's all because of a new redesign that features the Looney Tunes squad on the court.
It's nice. It's definitely renewal to the neighborhood. It brightens it up.
The project was unveiled in the beginning of the month here at Rodney Playground. It was part of Warner Brothers' Get Animated Invasion. Many were excited at first, but for Williamsburg resident Paul Travisano, that quickly faded.
As soon as I stepped on the court, there were 2 or 3 guys, and we were all playing, and it was just kind of like, wait a minute, and we all just immediately started talking about how slippery the court was.
But the lack of grip is not the only problem.
The lines of the court are wrong, so they moved the three-point line further out, and they actually removed about 8 feet of width from the court, so the court is actually too narrow for a game.
Travisano says at least one good thing came from the redesign. The basketball hoop used to sit too low and was not regulation height, but they've lifted it several inches and it's now just right.
The thought was there, and I think it's really cool for a movie company to potentially reach out and better a community in this way. So I'm definitely not opposed to them. I just want to see it done the right way.
On Wednesday, after we had reached out to the Parks Department and the team with Get Animated Invasion, we saw someone posting signs that the park will be resurfaced. The Parks Department telling us in a statement, in part, immediately we have temporarily closed the Toon Squad court to apply an additional clear coat with silica sand to ensure a proper surface before reopening to the public. In Williamsburg, Hannah Klieger, News 12, Brooklyn.
You're watching iPower 2. Weeknights on ABC, Jeopardy with Alex Trebek, followed by Wheel of Fortune with Pat Sajak and Vanna White, starting at 7, only on ABC 7, New York.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
There's always something interesting while on transportation.
See the best in the tri-state area.
The iPower 2, travel on the rails, moving forward. No matter where, at home, work, or on the go, whether in New York, tri-state area, or iPower One Nation, iPower 98.9 is streaming live.
Stroke is a leading cause of disability in America.
And a number 5 cause of death.
But 80% of strokes are preventable.
And together with the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association,
we have the power to end stroke.
Each of us can take simple steps to reduce our own risk.
Like exercising,
eating healthier,
and having your blood pressure checked regularly.
Together, we can end stroke.
Learn more at strokeassociation.org.
Hey, Dr. Phil and Robin here.
As parents, we know how crucial it is for children to be loved and nurtured, yet hundreds of thousands of kids in the U.S. are victims of abuse and neglect. That's why we support CASA for Children and their mission to help these kids find safe, permanent homes.
A child assisted by a CASA volunteer is more likely to succeed in school and less likely to re-enter foster care. So be a part of the solution. Visit CASAforchildren.org to see how you can make a difference in a child's life.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
A classic game show is back. Weekday mornings at 10 a.m. hosted by Wayne Brady. Let's make a deal. Followed by The Price is Right, hosted by Drew Carey. It all happens on CBS. Only on CBS 2, New York. Time Tunnel Thursday. The iPower Evening Show. Weeknights early on iPower 1 FM. One Nation under urban music. Go to iPower1FM.com and listen to the iPower Evening Show or TuneIn.com. Keyword iPower 1 FM.
I'm Jacob and Cheddar with your business and tech update from Cheddar on News 12. Don't bother packing your 2015 MacBook Pro with that Retina display on your next flight, as the FAA is taking steps to explicitly ban passengers from bringing the recalled laptop on their planes. This comes less than 2 months after Apple issued a recall for the devices, saying that at the time, the batteries could cause fire. Meanwhile, 2 of the country's most recognizable brands are teaming up to fight for social justice. Jay-Z's Rock Nation has signed a deal with the NFL to become the league's live music and social justice strategist. Now, under the deal, Rock Nation will consult on the Super Bowl halftime show and will contribute to the league's activism campaign called Inspire Change. And Domino's is launching an e-bike delivery in their effort to compete with delivery services. The pizza chain is teaming up with Rad Power Bikes to equip their drivers with custom electric bicycles. Domino's says on Tuesday that hundreds of e-bikes will be deployed later in the year in Baltimore, Houston, Miami, and Salt Lake City. And that's your business and tech update from Cheddar.
I'm Bea Smith, and I suffer from Alzheimer's disease. Brain disease affects millions. Unfortunately, minorities are underrepresented in research, so we may not be getting the best possible care. The Brain Health Registry collects vital information online for free. So please tell your story. I'm telling mine. Help find cures faster by visiting brainhealthregistry.org.
The inherent right to work is one of the elemental privileges of a free people. Endowed, as our nation is, with abundant physical resources, and inspired as it should be to make those resources and opportunities available for the enjoyment of all, we approach re-employment with the real hope of finding a better answer than we have now.
Donate to Goodwill, where your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community.
Well, for today, I think conditions are going to be okay, but if you're going to go out to the water, there's a moderate risk of the development of rip currents today, so just keep that in mind. Some historical information here yesterday. We call that history, right? This is the satellite radar from yesterday showing you some thunderstorms that popped up yesterday afternoon. 2:15, the first round of the showers through Flatbush, and then look at that, the thunderstorms came through. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strikes of cloud-to-ground lightning associated with that downpour at 4:30 that came through from downtown Brooklyn, Sunset Park, and came through Greenwood and all the way across through Canarsie in East New York. And as you can see, around 6 o'clock, it started to loosen up and get out of the way. Today's temperatures reach highs near 79 to 81 degrees. Here's a look out at our futurecast, everybody. Tomorrow's another nice day with high temperatures that top out near 79 in Brooklyn. Scattered clouds, slightly humid northeast wind at 5 to 10. And we're going to expect maybe temperatures to stay in the 70s tomorrow with a generally dry condition until you get toward the late night. Now, there's a very tiny chance of rain on Saturday. I think Saturday starts off nice, but you're going to get a sea breeze on Saturday, so that means that the winds is going to be coming off from the east, from off the waters. And it'll clash with the wind that's on land, which actually might be coming in more or less from the west or the northerly direction. And so when you have the two different types of air kind of meeting, there'll be a line where it does meet up, and it could produce like a rogue shower. I think the model here makes it look worse than what it actually is. It's probably going to be like 1 or 2 showers somewhere along that line. I wish I could be a little bit more specific, but I can't in that situation because that's just not how that kind of weather pattern works. But there could be a small opportunity for a shower as we get into Saturday. 7-day forecast kind of showing you what we're dealing with here. Sunday definitely going to be dry, 88 degrees, and not bad next week.
At least the weekend's looking good still. So
yeah, it's good. Like I said, a little rogue shower Saturday along the sea breeze, but whatever, not a big deal.
Yeah, whatever. All right, thanks, Mike.